While the song was playing, I was dancing at the background. It lifts my soul. It's the beginning of a fresh month. Today is Monday, the beginning of a fresh week. I believe all of us are still uncertain about what is lying ahead. And many of you are worried. But what I can tell you at this time is that you don't need to be worried. Just wake up, be bold, face the challenges, and make life what you want it for yourself. Good morning again, and welcome to the morning update. You can follow us on Facebook, on TVXYZ, or Wezo TV on Facebook. Or you can also subscribe to Wezo TV on YouTube and follow the conversation. All you have to do is to call a friend and tell them that TVXYZ has started the morning update you have always called for. And we are going to give you a mix of things that will serve your breakfast. I am Erica Hianyo.
And I am Nana Abenasewa.
Nana, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
How was the weekend?
My weekend was good, actually, but quite stressful.
When you were invited to join us present this program, one thing went through my mind because I experienced it.
Okay.
The first time I had to leave one TV station to another to present a show for the first time, I was a bit jittery. I don't know how you are feeling at this time. Well,
to be completely honest, I'm a bit nervous, but my confidence is in the fact that I have you by my side, so I'm fine.
Thank you for the compliment. Just hope that I don't make mistakes and carry you along.
Oh no, you can't disappoint.
This is the morning update. It starts always at 6:30, and then we'll bring the curtain to a closure of the program at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
What is coming up today?
Well, we'll take some newspaper headlines. We'll review some of the headlines that we'll talk about. And later on in the show, Wisdom will join us with detailed stories of some of the headlines that we will be discussing. Of course, we'll also pick your views from out there on social media, what is trending. But what we have also realized is that a lot of people are dying, Eric.
A lot of people are dying.
Yes.
And she's actually referring to COVID-19.
Yes.
Yesterday, the president addressed the nation, and I could feel his frustration. But many people are just wondering what could be the reason why there was a period in Ghana just a few months ago. A government announced that we are succeeding in fighting the spread of the pandemic. And then we go through an election. And even if you remember, there were times when people were released from hospital in huge numbers.
Yes, that they were
and people complained. Then here we are almost getting closer to a lockdown.
Yes. So apparently they are putting it on the fact that most people, which is the truth, most people are not following the protocols that have been put out there. They are not masking up. And those that are even masking up are not using the sanitizers. They are not exercising the social distancing. So these are some of the reasons why the COVID situation is going up.
Well, so this is the morning update. Of course, on this program today, we shall be speaking to a medical doctor to walk us through the concerns you have.
Yes.
We'll be telling you more about the figures and why you should be worried. We'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll tell you what else we have on this program.
Every human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre mi yebusia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yamamwa akwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekoko abosia, susu account, and it does wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, and the akeka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 03422919896. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. This is the morning update, and I'm here with Abena Sewa.
Yes.
What's coming up next?
Well, so we'll be taking some newspaper headlines and we'll review the newspaper. And as we said earlier on, Wisdom will come through with detailed stories of some of the headlines that we will be discussing. But in order for the conversation to be as interactive as possible, please try as much as possible to send through your comments on the number 020-866-7000 so that we can chat with you as well, because we do not want this to be a one-sided conversation. We want to know your views, we want to know your comments, so keep them coming. And please remember, as much as possible, let's be respectful with our comments, because don't ever forget, where your freedom ends is where someone else's right begins. Now, to the newspaper headlines, I have the Daily Dispatch. I have the Chronicle, and also the Mirror.
Okay, I have some 4 newspapers. The Ghanaian Times, the New Crusading Guide, the Business and Financial Times, and the Daily Graphic. I also want to remind you that you can also follow us on Facebook on TVXYZ or Wezo TV, also on Facebook. Otherwise, subscribe to YouTube and follow Wezo TV for all the live programs. And I can also assure you that TVXYZ will be coming up with more exciting programs. And we want to make sure that we make our screens very busy, more exciting, more engaging, to put smile on your face and also to help you solve your problems, because some of them will be discussed here on the platform. I want to start first with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It has on its front page the big story everybody is talking about, and that is COVID-19. The figures have shot up, and this headline comes like this: Ghana records more COVID-19 deaths, CISHA contributing to increased death toll. That is what news is saying. Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, is saying this. I want to show the paper. Maybe the cameras can zoom in a little and then help you to have a better view of the headlines I'm reading. This one says, Public Services Commission outlines COVID-19 guidelines for public institutions. You remember yesterday when the president addressed the media in his COVID-19 update, he said if it would be appropriate, the public institutions or where workers actually engage themselves busy, they should introduce the shift system. You remember during the lockdown, this came up. We'll tell you more about that. Now, half a SNI commander allegedly commits suicide. Abena, this particular story is quite worrying. I'm just looking at a district commander, so he's a senior police officer. He may have gone through all the rules of engagement, all the conditioning for him to be at that level, to be able to advise even the subordinates. I can imagine how people of his rank will be feeling when the news broke, waking up that a senior police officer has shot himself. I'm just wondering what could be the problem. I don't know how you felt when this news broke.
Oh, I was very sad about it, because this is not just anybody who is not working, and also to know that he said something in his suicide note saying he's fed up with life. I asked myself, what at all was going wrong? Is it that we are not treating the police properly? Are they not being paid well? What is going on? I was really sad about the situation.
What bothered me most was how will his family receive this news?
Exactly.
Because a district police commander is a big man, and so the family may be looking to him as, or looking at him as their icon, a role model, somebody who brings some grace to the image of the family. Beyond that, he has children, I guess. I'm wondering what is going through their mind. But the Western Regional Police Commander says we should circumspect in talking about or having conversations around this particular incident because they are still investigating. But I don't know what is going through your mind. We told you can also engage us via WhatsApp on 020-866-7000, and we'll also be displaying another number on the screen, and so you can follow us and send your messages, and then we engage you along the line. But the other story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper says, EU decries monetization of election campaigns. The center spread as more on COVID-19 deaths, and Supreme Court resumes election petition hearing today. And the last one on the front page is about football. It says, Oli stand hearts in Gamashi Derby, and Kotoko Ashgold share spoils. I'll do one more paper before you come in. And this one is the New Crusading Guide. Let me share what is on the front page. The New Crusading Guide. And this one says, you can't hold Adan to ransom. Residents warn selfish chiefs and politicians over Songo Salt Project. And then Bibiani and Nyansu Bekwai MP commissions mechanized borehole and water projects. And the last one on the front page, which is of interest to all of us, is Galamseyers destroy Obuase oil plantation. So these are some of the big stories on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. And Abena, what else?
So on the front page of the Daily Despite, it says that I have not said Mahama had said he won 2020. This is coming from Esiedun Ketia. Now, Esiedun Ketia was called as witness in the election petition that is ongoing, and some of the questions he was asked, some say that he was being elusive about it. So he was asked a particular question, to which he said that he didn't say Mahama said he won 2020 elections. Now also, it says here that what Ben Efson said about the NPP and Akufo-Addo in July 2014. Now, according to Ben Efson, Nana Akufo-Addo is the heartbeat of NPP. Also, some Ghanaian MPs have tested positive for COVID-19. This is an issue that worries me, because I heard Bagbin say that some of the ministers are positive and he saw them fraternizing with other ministers. Now my question is, if they know the ones that are positive, why are they allowing them to come to Parliament?
Well, what I would say is sometimes it's difficult. You know, when COVID came around, the conversation was, should government look for money so that there will be mass testing? Others said institutions like Parliament, they are the role models, and so MPs must be seen to be doing the right things. Just last week, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Aban Bagbin, suggested to MPs that everybody must go for the COVID test. Now, if they are not setting good examples, then where are we? You remember Collins Ahinkra?
Yes.
Who left hospital and then went to a campaign ground, and we know all the conversation that followed. And there was no sanction. In South Africa, those who actually break the COVID protocols, including government officials, are sanctioned. You understand me?
Yes.
So if government will be pretending to be addressing some of these problems, then that's where it will take us to that. You have the Chronicle.
Yes, I have the Chronicle. Again, Esiedun Ketia is still making headlines here. Now, the Chronicle says, Akoto Ampao, mosquito square up Supreme Court today. Sunyani Assembly vows to sanction parents whose children do not wear the nose mask. Also, Nigerians want sale of foreign rice criminalized, which I think is something we should probably adopt in here.
Made in Ghana rice, or grow in Ghana rice.
And apparently even the local
grow in Ghana rice.
I would. I mean, the Ghana rice tastes good and it's healthy.
Especially
and yesterday
when they use it for wachi.
Yes.
My favorite.
My favorite too.
I like the way she said yes.
A lot of enthusiasm, because I love it.
Can you imagine having wachi on your breakfast table as you enjoy this program?
Yes.
With some small willy, with some small talia.
And
when I'm buying it, sometimes I don't know what I should say. I want to buy this spaghetti or talia.
No, talia has some spice to it. Yes.
And then you add some small shito and then some small pear. I won't say much. Now, the Business and Financial Times has on its front page, economy saddled with 286 billion cedi debt hits 74.4% of GDP. That's on the front page of the Business and Financial Times newspaper. This is a big story, because government will be struggling if the COVID pandemic is not brought under control, because businesses have to pay revenue to government. And so if government is already struggling here, and government, most especially, we may have to go and borrow more to run its operations, then we are heading to crisis. We'll be having a conversation on this when my panelists join me at 7:30 for the newspaper review segment. Other stories on the front page of the Business and Financial Times. This one says, UMB appoints new chief executive, and then a merry deal ran for 3 extra months. Officially, this Ameri deal is over. Government should be taking over the plant, which adds 250 megawatts to the national grid today, 1st of February. I remember one of the members of parliament raised concern that government doesn't seem to be ready to take over, and more so, government owes Ameri, and that must be cleared before it is officially handed over to us. There's a lot of conversation around Ameri, and I'm sure as we move on this program, Morning Update on TVXYZ, we'll speak to the experts to educate us or to share what they know with us. Now, health workers fear sector is ill prepared to fight pandemic. And then the last one I would take from the Business and Financial Times is on the back page, and this one says, automate use technology boost revenue. Commissioner General to Customs and Rockefeller Foundation supports COVID-19 testing and tracing with $12 million. Are you done with your papers?
Yeah, I have the Mirror, but it has more of dates.
Life stories.
Exactly.
What
so
women like.
What, which isn't so bad. Because sometimes what we like, you like as well.
Okay, so go ahead, share with us, and let's go for a break.
So the Mirror is saying that other spies, now matchmaking apps keep love alive. So if you want to keep your love story alive, then you should be following these apps. If you don't have a girlfriend, or do you have a girlfriend?
I'm married.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I am married. That's the morning update. We'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll let you hear much about what is trending by way of news.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many or Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks. Check, auto checks. Check.
Emission, check.
Auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the road readiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre ni ebusia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yema mwakwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye wonhyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekoko bosia, susu account, enidaso wɔ hɔ savings account, mebada chain savings account, ene de akeka ho. Press Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank entime pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome back. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abinasewa, and I've been doing this with Eric Ahianyo. But as it stands, we will be taking some detailed stories of some of the headlines that we have been discussing so far, from COVID to court issues. Wisdom, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
How are you doing?
Very well. How are you too?
Not bad. Is that a Tom Ford?
Is that my what?
Tom Ford.
Well, maybe. I don't want to answer yes or no.
Yeah, but you could have just said yes. No. I mean, we make our own brands, don't we, as we go.
I won't.
So what do you have for us this morning?
Well, so I have lots for you because yesterday fellow Ghanaians had a message for Ghanaians, and that we know that 15 more persons have died over the weekend, provoking the Ghana Medical Association's threat for an industrial action. I will share details of that as well as the upset and new measures. You also know about the AmeriPower deal, which led to the sacking of Boakye Jaku in 2018.
Yes.
Well, that issue has resurrected, and I'll share some fresh details for you. And then today, the Supreme Court, we're expecting some more drama because the cross-examination section of the NDC's, witness and other persons will continue in the Supreme Court. And very finally, there's some good news for persons in the Volta region because the abandoned Ho airport is starting this Easter. Details in a bit.
Nice. Take us away, Wisdom.
So my name is Wisdom Hedejome. So we'll go straight to the details. And Ghana risk another lockdown and possible crisis in managing coronavirus patients following threat by the Ghana Medical Association to suspend services if government remains adamant in enforcing laws against the coronavirus pandemic. Now, over the weekend, 15 more patients have died. Officials' data indicates 28 persons have died in January alone from COVID-19 related ailment. Now, according to the Ghana Medical Service, or the Ghana Health Service, I should say, 125 persons in severe condition, 44 are critically ill. Unlike few months ago when government claimed there has been a great improvement which saw mass discharge of patients, the threat has reversed with active cases jumping from over 800 from the beginning of January to 4,655 across all 16 regions. Now, last week there were reports about 3 deaths among 22 children, all infected at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. Now, this is heightening fears among parents whose wards are in school. Now, the renewed pressure on government led by the Ghana Medical Association follows recent high-profile deaths as news about the gradual spread of the strain of the coronavirus. Now, still on the coronavirus, and President Akufo-Addo yesterday reiterated government's commitment when he delivered his 23rd address to the nation. Prior to the update, critics had been demanding details on plans to import vaccines and most especially the new policy direction on the contract tracing. Here I accept.
Our hospitals have become full and we've had to reactivate our isolation centers. Our average daily rates of infection now stand at 700 compared to 200 2 weeks ago. Until further notice, funerals, weddings, concerts, theatrical performances and parties are banned. Private burials with no more than 25 people can take place with enforcement of the social distancing, hygiene, and mask-wearing protocols. Beaches, nightclubs, cinemas, and pubs.
And President Akufo-Addo there. Now, government has directed that the fee for COVID-19 tests at the International Airport be reduced from $150 to $50. His address comes at a time frontline health staff are warning hospitals are becoming full. There is no official statement yet about the 100-bed Ghana Infectious Disease Center built at the East Hospital. More on this pandemic later on this morning's program. Now, finally, and after all the controversy, Ghana is officially taking ownership of the 250 megawatt Africa and Middle East resource investment, thus the Ameri thermal plant. TVX Waza News has learned Ameri wrote in September 2020 to inform the government of its intention to hand over the plant. Government is yet to conduct a technical audit to ascertain the integrity of the plant. No VRA staff has been trained. There is also no MOU or clarity on how an outstanding balance of $32 million due the Dubai-based energy firm as of the beginning of 2021 will be paid. Now, the transfer of ownership to the Volta River Authority is expected to take place effective today. But former Deputy Minister in charge of the power sector, John Abudulai Jinapo, has some reservations. In a Facebook post on Saturday ahead of the deadline yesterday, he advised the Energy Ministry to ensure it undertakes a seamless process leading to the takeover without any further delay. TVX Waza News has been speaking to the minority group in Parliament, which vehemently opposed an initial attempt to renegotiate the deal. You remember President John Mahama's administration in 2015 entered into a $510 million deal with Ameri to provide an energy power plant to augment power supply at the peak of the country's electricity crisis. But the NPP government under Akufo-Addo had wanted to pay off and introduce a new deal with another private company, which would have extended management of the plant by a private entity for 15 more years. Now, the Supreme Court hearing on the petition challenging the 2020 presidential result later this morning. It is expected that defense lawyers will continue the cross-examination of the NDC General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who is the first witness of the petitioner, John Dramani Mahama. Last Friday, the Supreme Court expunged portions of the statement submitted by Johnson Asiedu Nketia following a demand by Akoto Ampao, lead counsel for Nana Akufo-Addo. He argued that they are not based on the pleadings of the petitioner, duly scandalous and prejudicial. His colleague Frank Davis, who later addressed the media, accused Mr. Asiedu Nketia of being evasive.
When Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia took to the witness box, he remained largely evasive. Every question that was posed, his immediate response is that I do not speak for the petitioner. This is someone who in paragraph 2 of his witness statement has stated clearly that he was in court to end or lend aid to the petition filed by petitioner. How can you come to court as a witness for a party, and when you are asked questions in court, your response is that I don't speak for the petitioner? Then why are you in that court? Why are you then in the court? He thinks he can be as elusive and invasive as he was in 2013.
So that was Frank Davis, one of the lawyers for Nana Akufo-Addo. Now in court, lead counsel for the petitioner, Chachu Chikata, raised objections insisting that every paragraph in Asiedu Nketia's statement is material to their case, but that was overruled. Dr. Dominic Ayene, a former Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, also spoke to the media.
To watch the proceedings, you came up with the impression that the John Mahama team brought a solid case to the Supreme Court. In fact, when we filed the petition, it was being bandied about all over the place that our petition was empty, that it had not disclosed a reasonable course of action. Well, today was your answer. I am sure you saw vividly the evidence that was being led by the General Secretary. We have not yet concluded the hearing, and so I will not comment on the merits of what he said. But I'm sure you are all witnesses, and you know that this is not an empty case. Now, let me correct one misrepresentation, very deliberate and gross misrepresentation that lawyer Frank Davis, my very good friend, has made this afternoon. He sought to give the impression that we came to court because we wanted a relief to the effect that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama be declared the winner of the election. I am sure, as ladies and gentlemen of the press, you have read our petition. Nowhere have we sought that relief from the court. What we have sought from the court is very simple and may be summarized in two. First, we want the unconstitutional conduct of Jean Mensah to be held to account. Secondly, we want the court to declare that none of the candidates met the threshold requirements of Article 63, Clause 3 of the Constitution.
And so later this morning, you expect General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, to be in the witness box to continue his cross-examination by lawyer Akoto Ampah. You remember that process was truncated last day. Now, police has begun investigations into the death of Jomoro Municipal Police Commander Superintendent Zebrin Zenge, though he left a suicide note. He is said to have shot himself with his sidearm in the early hours of Saturday. A note found by his body in his room read, and I quote, "I am fed up," well, unquote. Now, news about his death has shocked the Western Regional Police Command because the late Zebrin Zenge was said to be a calm and respectful officer. The late Zenge once served as Greater Accra Regional Police Public Relations Officer. He was posted to Jomoro as the municipal commander in early 2017. Parliament is set for the vetting of nominees for ministerial positions late next week, February 10. The newly constituted appointment committee of the 8th Parliament, 13 each from both the majority and minority groups in the House. Petitions have started pouring in, and TVX Waza News sources say among those targeted are Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and over outstanding issues including the botched PDS, the Japan royalties deal, as well as alleged scandals involving the issuance of bonds and others. Outspoken MP Esla Owusu-Ekuful, who is heading for reconfirmation as Communications Minister, is also expected to have a tough time. MP for Ewutu Senya, Mavis Hawa Kumsin, who is also on the news for firing guns shot at the voter registration centers, has also been nominated as Minister Designate for Fisheries. The committee is chaired by the First Deputy Speaker and MP for Bekwai, Joseph Osei Owusu. The Vice Chair is Alexander Apenyo Marking, MP for Efutu. NDC leader Haruna Idrisu and Chief Whip Mutaka Mubarak will lead the NDC side on the committee. Now, barring any change, commercial flights will begin at the abandoned Ho Airport by close of next month. TVX Waza News has lent a technical team. It's already on the place finalizing arrangement with businesses to overtake opportunities. The development strategy is hinged on the collaborative effort of stakeholders including the Tourism Authority, the flight operators and hospitality industry. The 25 million Ho Airport was completed in 2016 as a 100-passenger facility. It hosts 2 medium-sized aircraft at a time. African World Airlines, which shall be providing the flight services, has announced a 2-hour per share details at 99 for a day. And finally, before we go, NDC running mate in the 2020 elections, Professor Jinano Poku Ajiman, over the weekend put smiles on the faces of inmates at the Royal Seed Orphanage. Among those items presented to the orphanage located at Papasit number 1 in the Ewutu Senya West constituency of the Central Region were bags of rice, assorted drinks, toiletries, and an unspecified amount of money. Professor Jinano Pokwajiman, who was accompanied by MP for the area Gisela Tete, MP for Norton Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, the administrator, Madame Millicent Amwa, could not hide her excitement and prayed God touches many hearts to support the orphanage. And that'll be it, Mommy, for the morning update. But certainly, there's more in court today for you.
All right, so we'll be expecting to hear more from you then.
Of course, you know, last Friday when General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, mounted a witness box, there were a lot of issues. He had to be given a calculator, and the judges said, no, I mean, that process was tedious and that they cannot, frustrate him like that. And so today, we expect to see how things will unfold. But many will say we expect more drama.
Yes, and also we expect that Esiedun Ketia will be more forthcoming with the answering of his questions today.
I don't understand. If you say he's more forthcoming, I don't understand.
Because
certainly, all the questions that was put to him, which were directed at him, he answered them, except those that, you know, were pointing at him to answer questions which the judges say cannot be the intent of the petitioner. I mean, you and I cannot say the mind of somebody.
True,
yeah,
because
exactly.
you and I were not there. This is still the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abinasewa. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick commercial break and we will be right back.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yes.
It be old cargo. Can I join you guys? Yeah.
Still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For our Kwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks. Check, auto checks. Check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check. Visit Auto Checks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
Auto Checks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Welcome back. This is the morning update on TV XYZ. We start this program at 6:30 in the morning and close at 9 a.m. You can also join us by sending us your messages 020 866-7000. There's also another number that will be showing on the screen. Just send them. And one unique thing about this program is that we want to make it even more interactive. And so if you send your messages and we have the feel that it is strongly opinionated, we can call you to add value to that brief message you sent to us. So morning update is going to be more interactive. It's not going to be a one-way traffic where we sit here and deliver all the things we want to share with you. You are also part of this program. Keep it engaging well enough. Follow us on Wazor TV on Facebook or subscribe to Wazor TV on YouTube. And all you have to do is to wait for your phone to prompt you, or any device you have to prompt you, and then you join the conversation. You can also follow TVXYZ on Facebook. My name is Erica Hianyo, and we know that COVID is real. A lot of conversation is going on. And as we speak, I want to just quote a paragraph of one of the stories headlined on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It says Ghana records more COVID-19 deaths. And this paragraph says, regional trend continues to show high prevalence from the northern part of the country. Very strong information, because I remember, if you go to the Ghana Health Service website, you realize that the three northern regions, which now have been divided into maybe 5 or 6 because of the creation of new regions, were recording very few cases. There was a point in time in this country when even the president said the northern part of the country are COVID-free. But now Ghana Health Service is concerned. At this stage, we want to have more conversation. My colleague, Abena, is standing by to share with you a few tidbits. Abena, take it over from me.
Thank you, Eric. As Eric has rightly stated, COVID is real and a lot of people are dying. This thing started as numbers. Now, these numbers have become people, and these people are becoming people that we know. So please, let's try as much as possible to follow the COVID protocols that have been put in place. Now, it says that COVID is spreading fast in Ghana, and majority of us still behaving as if we do not care. More people are dying, and the case count was 416 over the weekend. 28 have died in January alone. Ghana is now recording an average of 700 cases per day, compared to about 200 few weeks ago. Now, also doctors, nurses, and other frontline staff are becoming overwhelmed. Hospitals are becoming full, and patients risk dying, especially those who cannot afford the bills. But I think for that, now the government is saying COVID testing and treatment is going to be borne by the government. That is if you visit the government hospitals. But so please, if you start feeling any form of fever, you start coughing, the dry cough, tiredness, just visit any government hospital nearby and test the COVID for free. Now, take this serious, because someone very close to you may soon be infected if we go on this careless tangent. Now, total number of active cases has crossed 5,000 from a little over 800 at the beginning of January. Total case count is now 5,358, and I repeat, 5,358 at the last check on the Ghana Health Service website yesterday, representing additional 795 fresh cases. According to President Nana Akufo-Addo, hospitalization rate is on the rise, with 172 patients in severe conditions. Of this, 44 are critically ill. Also, Ghana Medical Association over the weekend called for an immediate ban on public gatherings, else they will advise themselves, to which the government came out to respond yesterday. Now, he said that not more than 25 persons at funerals or weddings. Now, 25% capacity for stadiums, borders, nightclubs, pubs remain closed. Offices asked to run shift system. So yes, the offices are asked to run the shift system, and also as much as possible leave their doors open for proper ventilation. And we are headed towards another lockdown in Accra, Kumasi, and other places where the spread is getting out of control. And honestly, I pray that that doesn't happen, because we all know the consequences of the lockdown. A lot of people go hungry, and even the food that was being shared was another trouble or drama on its own. So the next is, what is even more worrying is that Africa Center for Disease Control has confirmed that the new coronavirus South African variant is in Ghana. initially the first coronavirus that came was more for quote unquote, or for lack of better words, for the old people. But the new one is for younger people. So it seems like younger people are getting more infected by the second phase of the coronavirus. So please, let's focus on the protocols. Now, it says that it issued a statement on Friday stating that the new variant is more transmissible than previously calculating variants with high viral shedding. The new variant, the statement added, is currently spreading in 22 countries across the world. Now, we have a clinical psychologist on the line, Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur, to discuss the COVID situation further with us. Hello, Doctor. Good morning. How are you doing, Doctor? Hello, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. It's fine. Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
We hope you are keeping safe during these dangerous times.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, Doctor. We hope you are keeping safe during these dangerous times.
Oh, I'm fine by God's grace.
We thank God. Now, Doctor, firstly, where do you think we are going wrong? I mean, would you suggest that the government implements stricter rules regardless of how it would affect us, especially the poor?
Yeah, you see, personally, I have a problem with a lot of things. And I think that there are about 3 things that we're not looking at. And even if we are looking at, we're not doing right. The first one has to do with the fact that, you see, we are not confused about COVID-19 again. See, sometime last year when it started, everybody was confused in a way because we didn't understand what the disease was and how to control it. But now there's no confusion because we know virtually everything about COVID-19. We know how to prevent it. We know how to control it. And so why is it increasing in terms of its spread? See, and the reason has to do with the commitment to enforce what you have to enforce over a period of time. And that is where the problem is. We know how to control COVID-19. We know what to do. The second thing has to do with the fact that, you see, we don't have enough resources to be able to keep this under control. And if you even go to a lot of hospitals have not enough resource to be able to even protect their staff. Most of the hospital staff, the only thing they have is a mask, and that is it. And that is not enough to be able to control the virus in the hospital space. So we know what COVID-19 is. We know how it spreads. But the willpower and the focus to be able to maintain a certain measure over a certain period of time, that is what we don't have. We also don't have enough resources to be able to make sure that we are controlling this virus the way we're supposed to control this virus. We know what people move, the virus moves. So we are actually not confused, but I think these 2 things. Then the third one has to do with the fact that a lot of people, we assume people understand what is going on. Because we assume everybody watches television or listens to the radio. Not everybody does that. And those people who are not even sure about what is happening are not following any of the protocols. They are spreading the virus. So personally, I think that is the tricky thing that is affecting the control of this virus in this season.
Okay, Doctor, thank you. Now, also, public trust has dropped due to how the crisis was poorly managed before and during the campaign. Now, schools have reopened, children have to go to school. At this point, we are at the testing and vaccination stage. Do you think that this is the best solution at this point?
But I think that we need all the measures to be able to control it. You can't use just one measure to be able to control the virus. We need every measure that we know now, together enforced over a certain period of time to be able to get the needed results. If we don't maintain what we have to maintain over a period of time, it becomes difficult. You see, what is happening is that when you start something and you stop, it gives people the impression that it's okay, we can go back to normal life. And I think that is what is happening. So we need to maintain a certain measure over a period of time, significant enough to bring the thing under control. Otherwise, it's just one of those things that is waiting to fail.
Speaking of testing and vaccinations, yesterday the government addressed the nation, and he did mention that in March we should be expecting about 20 million vaccinations coming into the country. He also did not mention anything about clinical trials or testing. Now, I was watching TV yesterday, and I saw Dr. Emmanuel and Dr. Abraham talking about the fact that there will be post-surveillance, which is the fact that they would give us the vaccines and just be monitoring to see if any of us would react to that. And what's your take on that?
Well, you know, in this state where everything is quite difficult for everybody all over the world, I think it's the right thing to do. Is to be able to test what you are giving them to find out whether it's effective or not. There are all kinds of clinical trials that have gone on in other countries and all that to prove that the vaccines are safe. So I think it's in the right direction if we also do what we are supposed to do to make sure that the general public, they are safe. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
I think we would have to take this again. So what I'm saying is the government did not say that there will be any clinical trials or tests. They said that there will be post-surveillance. So they would give us, they will administer the vaccines to us without testing.
So that is one of the ways they would use to be able to prove the effectiveness of the vaccine. So I think that is also a step in the right direction.
Again, back to the president's statement yesterday, which was the update on the nation. Some believe in action and not rhetoric. What do you suggest?
Yeah, and I think that is our problem. You see, our problem is not that we don't know what to do. Our problem is that we don't enforce what we have to do. And the commitment to provide the resources needed, that is also a problem. Because it's very expensive dealing with the virus at this time. Very, very expensive. You know, so the resources to deal with it and the commitment to enforce what we need to enforce over a period of time so that we are effective in the control of the spread of the virus. I think that is what the problem is. Because we know what to do. We know and we understand what we need to do. But there is a willpower to be able to do the resources to do it and the enforcement of what we need to enforce. That is what the problem is. And I think if we're able to overcome those things, we will do better. But you know, the way the virus is, it may be very, very difficult to completely wipe it out from the population. It may be very, very difficult because normal people are spreading it. So it will be very, very difficult to pick the last man if you are not testing everybody on the street.
Now, Doctor, would you suggest that we lock down?
That is an expensive question. And at this point, I think that a lockdown may not be appropriate at this point because it's very, very expensive with a lockdown. If we keep maintaining enforcing of the COVID-19 regulation, we keep enforcing it and maintain it over a period of time, I don't think a lockdown will be necessary.
All right, Doctor. So finally, what would you say to the general public in relation to COVID-19?
I think that all of us will just have to be responsible. And that is what it is. For example, you are coming to the hospital, you know you have symptoms of COVID-19. Do not skip the line. Talk to those at the gate so that immediately they would isolate you so that you don't get mixed up in the population. If you go test for COVID-19 and you realize it's positive, self-isolate. Call your health care providers. Let them send you the medications. You know, when we are not responsible with our actions as individuals, it becomes very, very difficult to control this. Regardless of the efforts of the government, it may be very, very difficult. So I think that everybody would have to be responsible enough to do the right thing. If you're stepping out, it's not difficult to just put on a mask. If you go to a function, it's not difficult to social distance. You know, if you come to the hospital, it's not difficult to just say you are coughing or something so that you don't mix up with other patients. And these are very, very simple things that if everybody is doing it and we maintain this for a period of time, I think that we'll be able to control this significantly.
Thank you so much for the information and education. Do have a good day. Now, we heard from Dr. Newman, a clinical psychologist. This is still the morning update on TVXYZ. Please stay safe. Now, Eric, what do you have?
Yes, it was an exciting interview. I've learnt a lot. There's a lot of concern there, and he has advised us, most especially if you are sick and you suspect it could be related to COVID-19, when you visit any health facility, just raise the alarm. The fact is, not every COVID-19 patient is dying. A lot of people are recovering. And so when you have the disease and you are shying away from the public, you are most likely to infect an unsuspecting person. That is what I can add. We'll be taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be doing our newspaper review. And don't forget that when Wisdom presented the news, he gave you an idea about the Ameri power plant, which is now owned by Ghana. But I've seen a publication on the front page of one of the papers suggesting that they will stay on for 3 more months. I don't know whether it is related to government's inability to pay over $30 million of outstanding debt, or perhaps government wants to properly train the VRE staff, because the former power minister, the deputy power minister, John Jinapor, put out a Facebook comment suggesting that government has not been able to do the necessary preparatory work by transfer of knowledge from Ameri to VRE staff and so on to be able to manage the plant, which is adding about 250 megabytes to the national grid. These and several other exciting conversations will come up after this break and a spot of music. The morning update on TVXYZ. This program is also live on Wizard TV on Facebook. You can also get TVXYZ on Facebook. Just follow us or subscribe to YouTube and follow Wizard TV, and you get everything we show on TVXYZ. I've told you we'll be bringing you exciting programs on this network. And the morning update obviously starts at 6:30 and ends at 9 o'clock. This morning we've brought you the news, we've brought you a lot of things happening around, and I'm sure that you'll be staying with us for the live coverage of the Supreme Court hearing of the election petition case challenging the presidential results. Now it's not time for newspaper review. I'll be introducing my guest soon. But there's one thing that should bother you. It's about power. It's about the Ameri power plant. This adds as much as 250 megawatts to the national grid. Now, there's something interesting happening, and that's simple. You remember that it generated a lot of controversy around 2015, 2016, when then President John Dramani Mahama, who promised to fix the power crisis, decided to engage investors to bring in some of these power plants to add to the national grid, because water in the Akosombo Dam was drying up and there was no other source. The Bui Dam was dry. He was insulted by critics. They described him as incompetent. Many even said he was corrupt because the deal itself was questionable. Now, something changed after 2016. The MPP won the presidential elections. And then in 2017, 2018, government made us aware that they were beginning processes to renegotiate the deal and extend it for another 15 years. The minority in parliament then opposed this. They said it was not in national interest because they suspected that it was another way, a decoy to milk the state by renegotiating the Ameri contract, give it to another investor to run this for 15 years. They insisted that after 2 more years, Ghana will own the Ameri plant. That 2 more years is up. Today, the Ameri plant is officially for Ghana. Ghana owns it. Ghana has to run it. But the news is that they may stay on for 3 more months because government has to finish the last stages of the handing over process. That's all I can say. I am not an expert in that field, but I have with me somebody who works with the Institute of Energy Security. Fritz Moses has joined us on the line to throw more light. After his conversation, then I'm sure I will introduce my guest and we'll begin the conversation. Fritz, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Fritz. I hope you are well this morning.
I'm very good. I hope you are too.
Yes, COVID is real. We are managing social distancing We have a facility testing our temperatures before we come in, just to make sure you can hear me better. You may not see me in nose mask or face mask, but we are continuing the campaign to conscientize all Ghanaians to see that their lives matter. If you work and you contribute to the national cake by way of your effort to build the nation, when we lose you, the nation suffers. If you have a child who goes to school, be concerned as a parent. Give that child face mask. Now, for you, Fritz, when you hear the numbers going up, even before we go into the main conversation, how do you feel, and what can you share with us?
All right. Thank you once again, and good morning to all listeners and good viewers. So yes, like every other citizen in the country, I feel concerned that our case count is increasing. And then again, also the fact that our cases are also increasing and death rates increasing. I think it has been a negligence on the part of majority of us Ghanaians in ensuring that we are obeying to the protocols and living by the directives of the health. I think this should also be, of course, serve as a caution to us going forward. And then hopefully, when we are abiding by the rules and the protocols, that's just supposed to, I think we will be able to do what to reduce our transmission rate. But then again, so I want to believe that probably we are experiencing the many or the several other variants of the virus that we have seen across the globe in South Africa, UK, and US, and other places. I think that until we are able to specify and know what we are dealing with currently, it would be difficult for us as a country to go forward or go ahead from all of this happening.
Okay, thank you very much. So Fritz Moses is a research analyst at the Institute of Energy Security. He's joining us to have a conversation on the Ameri. Now, Fritz, let's go into the main conversation. We know the story about Ameri. We know all the controversies that arose over the last few months or years. And we heard last week that Ghana will now officially own the plant. But this morning, we are waking up to hear that it may have to be with them for another 3 months. For the purpose of education, let's look at the last few stages. After the plan to renegotiate the deal was suspended, Boakye Jako had to leave office, and we waited until today. Walk us through where we are now.
All right. So as we are all aware, the Ameri power plant came on board in 2015. The negotiations began in 2015 to augment or to show up our power production during the doom of our crisis that we experienced in 2014. So they began commercial operation in 2016, first February, and their agreement was supposed to last for 5 years, after which the plant becomes Ghana's own. And so that runs down, or that occurs or happens today, first February 2021. And so from today, Ghana is supposed to assume ownership and operation of maintenance of the plant in order to continue production of power from it. But then also we realized that from 2018 September, after the new renegotiation was done, the initial 60-month period that the plant was supposed to be, or government was supposed to pay Ameri for our usage of the plant, was renegotiated to 72 months. And so we had an extra 12 months to pay up for the plant. And so we realized that from last year, somewhere October last year, the Ameri power producers came on or released a statement saying that the government of Ghana owes them about $32 million, and that they are hoping to see have a meeting with the government of Ghana to produce a roadmap for the payment of that $32 million. So we think that with the 12 months that we have left to pay that up, there will possibly be a meeting of that sort to ensure that that payment is done. Again, when you look at the agreement that was signed between Ghana and Ameri, you realize that Ameri officials were supposed to train Ghanaians or staff of VRS precisely 6 months to the closure or the end of the agreement. But our checks do not reveal that such a thing happened. And so it has become difficult for us to know whether we have the competence or qualified individuals to continue operating this nation. Although yes, CRA was the first institution in Ghana to begin the creation of. Yes,
Can hear you, Fritz. Continue the conversation. We're talking about the training of the VRA staff.
Yes, so we think that VRA staff were the first to operate the thermal plants in Ghana, and so they are qualified enough. But then, with the specifications with regards to the American plants, we think that the training hasn't been done for them yet, and so it'll be difficult for them to come on board and start operating and maintaining this plant. And so yes, when we heard that the ownership of the plant has been extended to the next few months, it wasn't surprising, because ideally you would expect that those who already in the know of how it works would continue to operate. Hopefully, at the end of their operations, then we would have some Ghanaians trained to handle that. But then we have not seen that, and we think that that would be appropriate or needful to be done by the American people. Again, we are looking at the fact that within the same agreement, it stipulates that 90 days to the end of the agreement, we should have, or government of Ghana should appoint an independent engineer who would ensure that, or who would make an audit of the power plant and see the technical and ensure that the plant meets its original manufacturing qualities, or will be able to maintain its original equipment manufacturer standards. We are aware that an independent engineer has been appointed, but we haven't yet received any reports from that independent engineer's audit. Even though the agreement stipulates that we should get the audit 5 days before the end of the contract. We think these are all issues that need to be sorted out, because before you can go into purchase such, or even take ownership of such and equipment, we should ensure that they have all the technical competencies to continue generating power as it's expected to. The American power plant itself has a 20-year lifespan, and so with 5 years already gone, it's expected for the next 15 years, it should have the capacity to continue producing power for Ghana, about 250 megawatts power for Ghana. And so if it is not able to, when you find out that it's not able to within with your auditing of it, equipment, then it becomes a responsibility of America to ensure that where changes need to be made, it will be made. Where an upgrade needs to be made, it will be made, so that the plant becomes more effective and continue to produce as it's supposed to produce power with the national grid. We think that
Fritz, if you can hold on briefly, maybe this may be my last question, and you can paraphrase what you had wanted to say. The question is, could we have avoided this extra 3 months that Ameri may have to stay on? And most especially, the question is, again, will it be at the cost of government, or maybe in this case, Ameri perhaps will absorb that as part of the transitioning process for Ghana to take hold of the plant?
Yeah, so as I stated, in the initial agreement, or the original agreement, the Ameri was supposed to train Ghanaians 6 months to the end of the plant. That means somewhere from August last year to February this year. But then that didn't happen, and so that has become difficult, or that has become one of the major reasons why government of Ghana can't take control of the plant now. And as to whether it becomes a cost to Ghana with American continuing operation, I think it would. We haven't yet had that result from conversations that has happened between the government of Ghana and America. But then with the original agreement, their operations were supposed to end yesterday. But we think that probably there have been some consultations and some meetings between the two parties. And most likely, government will still continue paying America for producing power for us within these few months that has been extended to. Of course, which have been avoided, or could have been avoided if government had ensured that due diligence was done to the original agreement, where America was supposed to train our staff over the period of August to February this year. But since that hasn't been done, we'd expect that we continue to, repay in America, although it shouldn't be so. But again, we are looking at the fact that because America hasn't been able to change Ghanaian staff for the past 6 months, probably the going forward into the next few months, you would expect that they'll be training Ghanaians who take over the plans after this period runs down. So,
Fritz, thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's where we have to end the conversation. Fritz Moses is a research analyst with the Institute for Energy Security. He has been explaining to us the outstanding issues around the Ameri power plant, which is now fully Ghanaian owned, but it will have to be with the original owners for the next 3 months for the necessary preparatory works, especially with regards to the training of VRE staff and other outstanding debts that government has to pay. This is the newspaper review segment of the morning update. My guests are in. Alexander Chumberima is a legal practitioner, and I'll mention and introduce to you the other guests when we come back after the following tidbits and the weather update. Welcome back. This is the morning update on TVXYZ and also on Waze TV on Facebook and YouTube. All you have to do is to subscribe to YouTube. You can join this conversation by sending us your text messages now. The numbers are 020-866-7000. I'm here and I'm joined by Alexander Chumberima. His face is not new to those of you who have been following TVXYZ and other media platforms. He speaks well, he's very intelligent, and today we are happy to introduce him to you as our guest, our first guest for the conversation on what has been headlined in some of the newspapers. Alex, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Thank you.
How has been the weekend?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. What does it mean?
Okay. In simple terms, I cannot complain.
You cannot complain. All right. Unfortunately, we are in difficult times and we anticipate that things may even get worse. if we are not able to bring this COVID business under control. We've had some conversation on this. We've spoken to a medical doctor who has advised the general public, and what we do is to continue to hammer home the need for everybody to social distance, and apart from that, you make sure that you become the watchdog for your neighborhood, so that when people are doing the wrong things, you advise them to change for the better. Maybe at this stage, I can only take a brief advice from you because the experts have done all the talking. Briefly, just by way of welcoming you, what can you also add?
Okay, greetings to our viewers. But I think when it comes to COVID and its related issues, it's something that, well, I would say that in Ghana here, some people are just taking it for granted. I happened to be in the US when this thing commenced, or when it was started somewhere last year, and I up to, I think from February to up to about September, October, that way that I came back. And if you look at how things were, as at the time I was living in the US, their death rate was around 200,000.
Now it's over 2 million.
Thank you. Just for the US alone, their death rate alone was about 200,000. So,
and you see, a lawyer, just before you go ahead, I want to break down 2 million for people to appreciate. Look at the population of Accra. Let's assume that the population of Accra is about 5 million. Can you imagine that half of this population will be dead and buried because of COVID? That's how serious it is.
And even got to a point, for instance, if you take countries like Italy and others, it got to a point that even their crematoriums were stacked. Full of. You understand? So that is how serious the thing is. But you see, unfortunately, when you come to Ghana, well, sometimes I just don't want to blame the citizens too much. Do you know why? They speak with reference. When you talk to the ordinary man on the road or on the street, they speak with reference. They tell you, oh, I mean, the government is not serious. If it is true, why did they open us for us to be doing campaign and running around and all sorts of things? Now we are back and you have won and you are telling us that we should go and do this. That is what they tell you. So people don't really anticipate how truthful the thing is. Or they don't really accept the fact that...
Yeah, go ahead.
People don't really accept the fact that COVID is really with us. Because of the way it's been handled, because of the way things were some few days or months back.
I've seen you holding your face mask, and I believe that
we are bound to be.
So you wear it, and
I think it's even my first time wearing this kind of shirt.
Wear it and protect me. Let me protect you. Or 50-50. you are still audible. People can hear you. So feel free and talk.
So yes, like I said, that is how it has been from the past. So we are just praying that people will now, come to the conclusion that irrespective of whatever the government did in the past, whether they were not serious with it some few months back or days back, it still doesn't mean that the thing is not around, or the COVID or the illness or whatever is not in. It is in. And we are just urging people to just be cautious. I know several friends who have gotten it back in abroad and here as well. Yesterday I was talking to a friend and she confirmed that yes, she had it.
So that's how serious it is. Now let's begin our conversation. I believe that some of the papers have carried it. I've seen it in one of the pages of the Ghanaian Times, in the Daily Graphic newspaper, and on the front page of the Daily, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, I'm a bit confused. In one of the pages of the Daily Graphic, and then on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, I was mixing the pages and then where you can find the stories. This one is about a police commander.
Yeah, I think he's in the middle.
He was in charge of the Jomoro district. And we heard the news that he has killed himself. And his suicide note said, I am fed up with life. When I heard it, I didn't believe it because I know Zenge very well.
Okay.
Superintendent Zenge was then the Greater Accra Regional Public Relations Officer. And because of our job, we engaged him a lot. Very quiet man, very humble, outspoken, shy looking, and unfortunately, I cannot imagine what may have gone on. But this is an institution that is supposed to be even arresting people who want to commit suicide or threaten to do some of these things. And this is a man who is a commander who should rather be serving as a role model and conditioning some of his officers who may be traumatized by way of the operations they engage in. And unfortunately, this has happened. Now, how did this come to you, and what message does this send to the police service, the general public?
Well, it's very unfortunate. First of all, our condolence goes to the family that he left behind. I mean, to see this kind of thing from a public officer of his status, a police superintendent is a very much senior officer. So to have seen this or heard of this news is really sad. But let's try to dissect his own statement. He said he's fed up with life. So many things can be factored into it when such statements are being made. It could be that certain challenges that he's going through, he's unable to bear it any longer. For instance, it can be on family, it can be work-related, among others. And, you know, several other men or several other personnel of the services, being it police, immigration, and others, are also going through this kind of psychological issues. And you see, I always say that there is one thing trying to help somebody, and there's another thing trying to help yourself. So in as much as the police, their interest is to be, helping the public, they must as well help themselves by psyching some of their officers, or most of their officers, on things that bothers them. Because all does not work. You see, it's not just about paying somebody and asking someone to go to work. No. People have several problems. And it differs. You see, when we move from one person to the other, you get what is bothering you may not be bothering me, and what is bothering me may not be bothering your producers or your producer. So it differs. So it is time that the police counseling departments or units, I'm sure they have one. I know they have one. Yeah, they should be. It should be decentralized, because as it stands now, when you go to every unit, station, district, division, or whatever, they have decentralized the police hierarchy. In that, when you go to a division, for instance, you have a divisional crime officer, you have a divisional operations officer, you have a divisional.
It can be a commander.
Divisional commander is there.
Yes.
The divisional commander is there, and under him there will be a divisional operations officer or operations commander, divisional crime officer, divisional. Several other ranks or units created under them. So I think this counseling departments or units should also be decentralized, in that they will have most of them in other regions, districts, and divisions, whereby they will also be assisting in counseling several other officers who may be going through certain challenges.
This counseling aspect of the conversation is quite interesting, but the issue that should be of concern to every Ghanaian is about whether we as a people are serious, have conditioned ourselves well enough for people to appreciate the importance of such units. You go to the GES, they will tell you, when you go to all the schools, basic to the university, there's supposed to be a counseling department. But I can tell you on record that
there is none.
Students hardly visit some of these facilities.
They don't even have it.
I wouldn't be surprised that the police may have a counseling unit, but because of perception or because of the poor management of the services to the officers themselves, or perhaps their understanding of how important it may be to help them be well conditioned, be in good morale to execute their job, is almost non-existent. And so my question perhaps would be, how do we make the Ghanaian appreciate the value of counseling and therefore have to patronize some of these departments?
Well, you see, let me take it from this point. Certain things has not been really part of us when it comes to the normal Ghanaian or the ordinary Ghanaian. Some things have not been part of us. We only accept counseling when it comes to marital issues, premarital, and sometimes even post-marital counseling is not really something that people patronize in Ghana here. I think people are now trying to appreciate that thing along the line. So, but one thing that we need to understand is that counseling doesn't necessarily relate to just marriage, and that it relates to every other thing that we do. You see, but we have the nature. In fact, I used to say this. The ordinary Ghanaian would like to have his own way, do his own thing without necessarily seeking advice from somebody or seeking help from somebody until the person gets into a problem. That is one thing that I've really observed. Back abroad, when you're handling cases of Ghanaians, many a times what you get is that the case that a Ghanaian will bring to a lawyer will be something that he or she has tried and had failed. and the person is now coming to seek guidance or advice from a lawyer. But you reckon that the white man will always take the first step of seeking the right advice before doing it.
You know what? I want to welcome John Mauto. He's the Dean of Students at the University of Professional Studies. He'll be joining us briefly. So I just want us to take just a brief break. He will join us shortly, and then we'll continue this conversation, and he will also join us so that we share our views on what you think. But don't forget, send your text messages now, 020-866-7000.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crack.
Sure.
Check, auto checks. Check, auto checks. Check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks. Check, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For our Kwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Ifo kra na menyisika. Edia ye mefui.
Ehin fapa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre. Ni ye busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yamamwakwa Baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ gadifo abosia, ekuokuo bosia, susu account, ɛne daso wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ɛne de akeka ho. Hwɛ Suhum Rural Bank wɔ 034229186. Na wɔn nso wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Entime pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
welcome back. This is the morning update on TVXYZ. We are also live on Waysor TV on Facebook. Large following, I'm told. You also have to follow Waysor TV by subscribing to YouTube. Join this conversation by sending your text messages now. 020-866-7000. I started the conversation earlier with IES, and then Fritz Moses helped us to understand where we are now. I've been joined by Alexander Chum Berema. He's a very respected lawyer. He has been helping us understand even petitions that are ongoing in the various courts, and also the Supreme Court, where the presidential results are being challenged. Again, we are also happy to introduce John Kweku Mensah Mauto. John Kweku Mensah Mauto is the Dean of Students of the University of Professional Studies. What is the A for? UPSA. So why that?
You know, interestingly, if you are to Google UPS, you know what to come.
Okay, no, or UPS America. I mean the delivery company.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
And then
So I think adding the A to it will just differentiate it anyway.
Okay. All right, so that's the reason.
No, there were other reasons.
There were other
probably.
reasons. Okay, but UPSA, obviously, all of us know, is one of the best universities, public universities in Ghana. They offer several courses from graduate to the master's level, and all you have to do is to continue following everything we share on this platform. I believe you get to know some of these academicians, lawyers, doctors, nurses, whoever will be walking through our platform. The program has always been morning update, and I've told you that you can also be part of this conversation by sending your text messages, and most especially it's going to be very interactive. So when your message appears to have a lot of concerns that we need to explore further, we'll call you and you join this conversation. I'm here with John Kweku Mensah Mauto, Dean of Students of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, and then Alexander Chum Berema. He was talking to us about the death or the suicide committed by Cyprian Zenge, who was the superintendent of police in charge of the Jomoro district. He will wrap up because we have other very interesting topics like the vetting of ministerial nominees and so on. So let him wrap up, and then I will introduce John Kweku Mensah to also share his views. Alex,
yes,
you were talking about this sad death, and
yeah.
I think the conversation before we went for a break was on counseling services and the need for perhaps institutions of state to make it more attractive to every Ghanaian, because all of us have problems. All of us have problems.
Exactly.
You can continue from
exactly.
there.
So the main point I'm trying to make is that they should accept the fact that counseling is something that is very necessary so far as our lives are concerned. It doesn't. We shouldn't just look at it from the point that it's only when I'm going to get married, or when I have married. After that, that is why I need counseling. No, counseling per every job that you are doing, you need it. You need it. So it's very important that the service, as I was saying, the police service should try and decentralize their counseling units to the various divisions and districts, so that, for instance, he being a district commander, he would have had a counseling officer with him, so that in the event that he was going through any kind of life challenges, he would have just approached the officer for him to be counseled. Because well, as he rightly stated, he said he's fed up with life. Several other things can be adding up to that very point that he has made, but we can't tell for now.
Is it easy? Maybe let me welcome John Mauto. John, is it easy to identify somebody who may be traumatized, and for which reason you can even conclude that this person may be planning something evil?
Thank you, my good brother, Mr. Ahianyo.
You can raise your voice a bit.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my good brother, Mr. Ahianyo. I'm right.
Right.
Yes, and my special greetings to all your viewers. It's unfortunate we have to meet this morning to be discussing issues of suicide, especially when you have a police officer who has risen through the ranks. I mean, district commander. It tells you that we are not doing something right, and as a country, just as Berema mentioned, it's instructive that we formalize our counseling system processes. In this country, I can tell you that we are fortunate that our cultural practices even has a lot of counseling element that revolves within. Today, myself and you know, if I have an issue, our cultural setups prescribes that you talk to either an uncle or an auntie or a friend. So it really distresses any problems that you may probably be going through. However, the problem we tend to face here has to do with formalization of the counseling system, counseling unit in institutions. Over the years, various public institutions has been directed to set up counseling units. And just as you mentioned, it is not easy identifying people who have issues. But if you have experts in your organizations who are proactive, who are putting up programs in place, they are able to identify some of these issues. I think we had some years back, we had these issues that bedeviled most of our public institutions. There were suicides all over. I can't remember, we had only one, but University of Ghana and other universities also had a couple of them. And it all happened within a certain period when people were not able to overcome their problems. And that is a position we got to when the country realized that, look, we are playing with the counseling units. So virtually every institution now, I mean the public universities, as far as I'm concerned, have set up counseling units. And it was after this event that it became a process that we should always commit some resources to a unit in managing our students as well as staff. So if you bear with me, you know, the number of suicides in universities have reduced. It is because of that conscious effort. And today, I can speak to my university that we have a unit that is responsible for identifying students with issues and distributing such students to staff who, and because you cannot have.
Now, when you say identifying students with issues, at what stage does the counseling department conclude that this issue is worthy of inviting the person or persons involved and engage them?
Okay. You see, counseling starts with trust. You bear with me. If I don't have any connection with you, I wouldn't share anything with you. So counselors would always come out with programs to encourage people with issues to come. And it also depends on the strategy they put in place. Once again, I can speak to my environment. Often than not, you have a program in place where our staff at the counseling unit visit classrooms, share with them whatever problem you have, share with them and encourage them to visit the counseling unit. We have institutionalized a system where lecturers, when we are teaching, appeal to students to also, interact. And it goes beyond the normal stress situation. Academics, sometimes there are some students who, through the academic difficulties and challenges they are facing, may end up committing suicide.
I want to ask a follow-up question.
Yeah.
And perhaps this question will go to the two of you, but because you're on the floor, you may want to respond first. I want to situate this in a typical work setting.
Okay.
Where you have a staff.
Okay.
Maybe he has accommodation problems.
Okay.
Maybe he has marriage issues.
Okay.
His salary is not enough.
Okay.
He's always owing people. He comes to work late. I am the manager.
Thank you.
And instead of appreciating the challenge that staff has, I even add more problems by issuing threats, by suspending him and so on. This can trigger an action like this if the person cannot control himself because he's fed up with life.
Thank you.
Now, if I'm a manager of an office, how do I approach a typical problem I've put before us for conversation?
Thank you. I think you've answered the question partially. Because the easiest way is to talk to your staff. When staff become a little bit deviant, compelling them to do the right thing is not always the answer. What you need to do is to engage them. As a dean, I have engaged a couple of my staff, and there are some situations you have to compel them. you could easily deduce that this is just laziness, so you compel them. In some other areas, you have to direct them to the counseling unit, especially when it goes beyond you, especially when you don't have the expertise to manage the whole situation. In fact, even sometimes some of the counseling unit may not even have the expertise, but would fall on others with those expertise. I can give you one other critical scenario. I think I've answered the question by telling that you need to report it to a counsel. That is provided there's a counseling unit, because you may not be in a position, you may not have the expertise to have addressed the whole issue. I quite remember there was this very, very beautiful student, very, very beautiful and brilliant student, who had a mental issue. She would not take her medicine. And whenever she has those attacks, she sometimes be talking and may probably break whatever is in front of her. So the one of the counseling unit members knew me and shared the issue with me. I asked her to come and see me. When she came, what I realized was that nobody was talking to her. She had this boyfriend. Whenever the boyfriend disappoints her, it triggers it, and then she will not take her medicine. So I started developing and tuning the mind towards something else, which I wouldn't like to share with you because it's between the two of us. Now, within some few days, the counseling officer came to me and said, "What did you do?" I said, "Look, you people are not discussing. You didn't discuss what they really wanted." Because it took me some hours to really know what she was going through, because I've lived with some of them before and I know how they behave. So you see, it is very important and instructive to know your staff, to know what is wrong with them. If it's becoming so difficult for you to know that, especially when the thing continues and you can't find answers to them, the right place is to now direct them to the counseling unit to assist you
and do the follow-ups.
That is it.
Right. So because we have other issues to talk about, let me direct the same question, but maybe with an added angle.
Okay.
Now, is counseling expensive? Because in the same scenario, in order to appreciate the challenge that staff may have, I may need to do some legwork, do background checks to inform whatever action I want to take as manager, so that instead of sanctioning, I may find solutions if that staff is very useful to the company. How do these dynamics play?
Well, Eric, you see, when it comes to employees and employer relations, it's something that is quite funny sometimes. You know, I agree with my brother that at some point you need to be a bit strict.
Yeah.
At some point you need to understand the nature of the person. Let me give you a typical scenario. I had this girl that I employed some time ago, and the very first day she appeared before me, I reckon that through the conversation she had a series of issues that she was battling with. She had 2 kids, but aside the 2 kids, she was also having issue with her real family, I mean the mom and siblings, because she had decided to take a different faith, which is different from the faith that the parents and the siblings are having. I don't want to call the name of the church. So because of that, she has been neglected. After the interview with her, I reckon that certain basic things that we even wanted her to get before she can even start to, she didn't even have anything to even go and get it. At some point, I needed to support. I have to give her money to go and do 1 or 2 things. So sometimes, you see, some people, their problem, you need financial assistance to be able to assist them. Sometimes, to, as my brother was saying, sometimes you need to coach them or tune their mind to a certain angle in order to be able to win them. People, as you was trying to put across, when someone feels neglected, nobody is coming to me, nobody is talking to me, the person develops the mindset of trying to talk to himself or herself. You can be walking on the street, you can see people who are not really crazy.
So it is not always the work of the devil, as we want to put it.
Of course.
Because most of the time people conclude,
it's
the work of the devil.
Well, we cannot rule out that, but it cannot be everything.
And we should also not be thinking about the work of the devil when such problems can be solved.
Yeah, because we don't try to dissect the issues. That is why we always try to channel it to one person. It's the devil. It's the devil. But when you dissect the issues, you can reckon that some of them is not really the devil.
Because this suicide issue we are talking about now, with reference to
the officer,
the late Superintendent Zengi, he may be a big man, and so it has become a big issue. But there are children as young as 5 years, 6 years, 7 years who may also be tempted to do this. It could be the
this is not even the first time a police officer has taken his life.
And this is not the first time we are hearing of suicide.
Thank you.
Outside the police officer, but with ordinary Ghanaians.
Yeah. In fact, I think some years back, Temma was so, if I remember clearly, he took the life of his wife, I think his in-law, and himself. I think there were 3 people, if I'm right. You see, it boils down to the fact that, yes, I believe that it is time for us to understand the need for counseling. You don't just need a counselor when you're going to marry, as I've stated. You need a counselor in various workplaces because people have challenges even though they are coming to work.
I have a challenge. I'll see you after. This program, I'll come to you. This program is sponsored by X Natural Mineral Water, and most of the time, I like playing with this.
Yeah,
it's like a ball.
Yeah, it's a nice ball.
Kids love it. If you're organizing, imagine your grandmother or your grandfather or some old respected person is having 80th birthday, 90th birthday, some nice birthday party, a wedding, outdooring, and you serve these. You can imagine how people will like it. So much attractive, and it doesn't come in this ball form. There's the normal bottle, there's the cylindrical one. Let me use this word, this for lack of the appropriate word. So just look out for where to get them in bulk if you want to take them and then move to wherever. That's if you want to carry them on wholesale basis. Just follow them. X Natural Mineral Water, I am proud to say, are part of the sponsors of Morning Update, which starts at 6:30 on TVXYZ, Waze.tv on Facebook, YouTube, and ends at 9 o'clock. Today, our conversation will travel a little, especially with lawyer Chum Berima, because the Supreme Court will be sitting today to continue the cross-examination of Johnson Asiedun Ketia. We are hearing that he is going to be taken on by Akoto Ampao, who represents Nana Akufo-Addo. But before we even look at the Supreme Court, there's an issue that is developing. Parliament has selected or nominated persons to serve on the appointments committee.
Yeah.
Unlike the previous parliaments, this one has 13 each on both sides, the majority caucus and the minority caucus.
Okay.
Parliament, for the first time, has a speaker who cannot be manipulated by the executive, as has been suspected in the past, where the Speaker of Parliament belongs to the ruling party and therefore would want to be whipped or has been whipped to do what the president wants. So that is one challenge. The other challenge is that they are 13-13 on the committee. And then unfortunately or fortunately, the president has nominated people with some question marks around them. And they form part of the nominees who will be facing the appointment committee of Parliament. And petitions have started coming in and names have come up. Let me start with you, Alexander. What do you anticipate is likely to happen at the floor of Parliament when the committee sits and starts vetting MPs? Sorry, the nominees.
The first word I can use is that I want an excellent job. Excellent in the sense that the previous era that we have had rubber stamping, vetting committees whereby people are, they are not, I don't want to use the word qualified, but they have issues around their neck. But because of political expedience or political reasons or whatever, we just, push them through or sweep it under the carpet and then move on. But today, God being so good, this committee, as we rightly said, 13-13. And you know one funny thing about the numbers? It's not just about the number being 13-13. You must have each person appearing before them must score 50% of that committee in terms of their voting
to go through.
In order to go through. And now, this is what is going to happen. Let me take somebody like Esla Usu. I'm not using her for any reason, but she's a member of the committee and as well a nominated minister. What it means is that the day she will appear before the committee is going to be 11,
-1.
13. No, 12. It's minus, yeah. I'm saying 11 because
the chairman
doesn't vote.
Okay.
The initial vote, he doesn't have it. So, and Esla cannot vote on the day that she's appearing. So what's the number?
13
and 11, right? Good. So 13 and 11. What it means is that she needs the approval of the NBC to go through. Now, I don't know which persons are having that kind of, what do you call it?
Are you referring to the committee or the petition or what exactly?
Yeah, those petitions, those people that they have petitioned against, I don't know them.
What I know, and I can say on record from my checks from Parliament, is that there's a petition against Eslowusu. People are saying radio stations were closed, the Kelny GVG issue, there was no conclusion to it, and a number of things that people have referred to as suspected scandals under the past NPP administration. Now, Ken Ofuriatta, for example, they are making reference to PDS, the Japan royalties deal, and then the controversies around the various bonds that Ghana has signed on to.
Yeah.
And then other related issues, because the finance ministry virtually is like the central point that of course networks whatever has to do with money and so on.
Yeah.
And then I've heard the name like Hawa Kumsin, and people are saying this is a woman who must have been facing the law by now because of what she did and what she said during the voter registration exercise, where guns were fired, motorbikes were bent, and then she openly said she fired the shot. And as we speak, that case is hanging. And many are saying the police must bring that matter to rest. And so when she appears before the committee, several other issues will be happening or be raised around this. Eslowusu, I'm sure you know several other things that have come up. So some of these names have come up. Whether Parliament will actually deal with the petitions as it is to the letter and all those controversies to be settled, I can't tell. And you wanted that information, I've shared it.
So there's something that we call checks and balance. You are mentioning the police, they are part of the executives. Who is supposed to check them? This legislature that we have now can put them to check through the executive. All right? So now, we thank God that these petitions have come up. Now, it is important that Parliament or this committee will not just sweep it under the carpet, but will dig into it. Because all the issues that you have raised, take it, closure of radio stations, they were critical issues that I have heard countless people trying to raise the point that no matter how different views you may have, permit other people to also have their own opinion to issues. We all cannot have the same opinion at the same time. It doesn't even make it right. At some point, someone will disagree with you. At some point, somebody who were even disagreeing with you yesterday will agree with you today on something, once you are being rational. So when it came to the issues of closure of radio stations, I remember very well, if I'm right, I stand for correction, whereby we were told that the minister insisted that she wasn't going to permit the opening of the radio stations. I heard that. And I said, like I said, I stand for correction if it's not true.
I can give you information that you may not know. I have been personally involved in all the conversations in Parliament with the Select Committee on Communications. And so the last check, when we went there, Opariado was then the chair of the committee. Because Kendi Japan, who actually sat at our first meeting, which saw the presence of Eslowusu, the board chair of the NCA, top,
CEO,
the CEO and all those people, and then other members. In fact, all members on both sides were fully present. Immediately after the meeting, when she assured that she was going to allow us to withdraw a case we had filed in court challenging the closure of the stations, and so we come back after 2-3 weeks to get the issue resolved. We waited for almost 6 months, and when we met Opariado, who was then sitting in the chair, the message he gave us was that Esla had written to the committee that she had changed her mind and we can go to court.
You see it.
And so that is what I know has happened. And many people are not still comfortable because they think that beyond that, there have been several appeals from Media Foundation for West Africa, from members of Parliament, from prominent Ghanaians, for people who want freedom to be actually experienced by way of allowing the media to operate at free will. Urokro Bobby has written a letter personally to the president as his opinion. And I also know that even people who are perceived to be very close to government, including Kweku Baku Jr.
I heard him saying something.
Made this appeal. And so at this stage, many people are still looking on what may be the reason that some of these stations, which are people's businesses, people's investments, and these are millions of cedis. Look at Radio Gold, for example, and people who may have lost their lives. So many people are anticipating that there are still outstanding issues that must be resolved.
So like I said, this is the platform. This is a very good opportunity for them to scrutinize them very well.
I'll come back to you, but John, some may say the appointment committee should not be a platform for NDC side to use to score political points. And so an attempt to over-exploit some of these questionable things we are talking about may be out of context. I don't know your opinion on this.
All right. Probably, I just want to refer to a word you used, that for the first time in the history of this country, having the opposition member becoming the
Speaker of
Parliament was unfortunate. I heard the word unfortunately.
I said fortunate or unfortunate?
Unfortunate. Okay. Right. I think it's fortunate.
It depends on how you want to look at it.
It's fortunate. You know, it's a novel, and I have been talking to this issue for some time now, and what I think is that now, but is it by accident? I don't think before the December elections we knew this would happen. But by accident, we have a parliament that has the two major parties having the same numbers, and then, for the first time, using the secret balloting, by not going through the whipping system. One may not know. I mean, I still dispute the fact that those who voted for Honorable, I mean, the leader, Bagbin, are coming from the MPP camp alone. There's a possibility that maybe there was cross voting. Maybe those who voted for Bagbin in MPP were more than those who voted for in the NDC. I mean, it's possible, you cannot predict that. Yeah. It's only MPP guys who voted. It tells you that, you see, naturally, if we are to take out that partisan, thing we do in politics, there's a possibility that our MPs can think on their feet. They want to be independent. So when we're given that opportunity, they exercise that. And which also tells you that the Ghanaian will always strive to do the right thing. But we have a system in place that normally restricts them and frustrates them from doing things right. So I'm not surprised that you raise this fear that there's a possibility that people may use their partisan positions, partisan sentiment to frustrate government business at the end of the day, which is also possible. Now, coming back to the issue of vetting and scrutinizing ministers, it's something we do every now and then. It's part and parcel of the oversight responsibility that Parliament plays over the executives. And I am happy that today we are where we are today, that we can speak to issues objectively without partisan sentiment. And I'm also happy that today we have an appointment committee which every eye is watching to do a very objective work.
It's instructive. Okay, just wrap up on that.
Yeah, it's very, very important in the sense that just as we discussed the numbers, currently the party in power is in the minority. I mean, no matter what you say, the 13-13 simply means that at any given point in time, the minority will surely have their way. And when this happens, there's a possibility of a partisan thing. But trust me, people will be scrutinized. And I'm very happy with the interest now that suddenly there are petitions to the committee. We will expect that this will be done constructively without any partisan sentiment. Now, a lot of issues were mentioned. I mean, you even mentioned about some specific, ministers who had issues with companies and institutions. Yes, indeed. The Osler case, the Minister of Finance and all that. It's also instructive to know that some of these things, the committee must look at it from a very objective point of view. I am only hoping for the day, and I've mentioned this on several platforms, that you see, the days where we subject CVs to scrutiny in appointment committees should be over. These are background checks we should have done before. Today, you see, scrutiny has moved from the normal questioning on your CV, but telling us what you can do, what you have done, what you can do, because fortunately, and about 15 of the ministers nominated were served in the previous administration.
So there are lots of things.
So there are a lot of things. So the question is,
okay,
what have they done, and what are they coming to do? Let's vet them on the basis of this. If we want to look at it from another angle, my brother.
Okay, but there's another issue. We want to be brief so that we can look at other topics. Unfortunately, it looks as if time is flying fast.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's because I introduced you onto this platform a little late. But I believe next Monday, I'm just getting some signals that if it's going to be appropriate, maybe every Monday you become the two of you become the regular guest. But we'll talk about that later. But this is what I am anticipating, because that conversation has started. You remember last week, the minority in parliament, or sorry, not the minority in parliament, the minority caucus in parliament, or the minority group in parliament. That's how we have been told to identify them, because there's no majority party or minority party in parliament. Now, the minority group in parliament held a press conference that they were disappointed that they thought of consensus building, and then the majority group surprised them by voting against the bill proposed by Mahama Yarega, MP for Boku Central. There's a school of thought that they cannot blame the majority group because they had the numbers which could have represented them to state their point. And so it was just a simple excuse. Now, for the ordinary Ghanaian who expects that the appointment committee will rise up to the challenge, what should be the conversation? What kind of pressure should we bring to bear, or either the MPP side or the NDC side, to make sure that the right thing is done, so that we don't hear some flimsy excuses at the end of the day?
The point is very simple. Every member of parliament is not there, or is not in parliament on its own. They are in parliament representing their constituents. And I'm very sure that these MPs have been hearing the kind of complaints or issues that their constituents have when it comes to these nominees who are yet to appear before them. So they should take into consideration the issues or the challenges that Ghanaians, their constituents, have when it comes to these people. If their constituents have issues with Ejapadio, and they were questioning them here and there when they were going to their constituents during the campaign era, or even before the campaign, then the opportunity has appeared. The finance minister or the incoming finance minister is coming before you. Put questions to him when it comes to Ejapadio. Let him justify himself why he got himself involved into this things. Why he permitted his deputy minister to sign an agreement which was supposed to have been signed by the chief director. Why all this has happened? Why did they, underestimate the deal? The rate, the assessment that was done on the royalties. It was not well valued. Why? Put him through all these questions. And as my brother said, the era of scrutinizing your CV, oh, you have done this, you have done that, we don't need it. We know his credentials. So we don't need you to come and tell us again. Now put him through what he has done, what he's capable of doing again. Anything new, or it's still going to be the same old thing. Like you're going to have deals going through just...
Let me do a few text messages. I'll come to you. And the question would be, some say, and I want to think about it before I come to you after the text messages, that perhaps the government, i.e. the president, may not have wanted to appoint some people as ministers. And he wants to use the appointments committee as an excuse because there are some of the nominees who have tall list of questions to answer that may not be, those people may not be able to answer before the committee because it will involve a lot of investigations. I'll come to you. But these are some of the text messages. The number is 020-866-7000. 020-866-7000. And this one, let me start from the top and keep your messages coming through. It says, good morning to all of you. In fact, government is not serious. How do you close band weddings, funerals, public clubs, cinemas, burial services, then allow students and nurses up to primary 6 to go to school? What a confused government. Coronavirus cases is alarming and the death rates are rising. I advise government or the Minister of Education to act now. It didn't come with a name. This one says, good morning, Eric. Great show by all standards. Beautiful setting and wonderful guest. Thumbs up for the new content from Dr. Daniels. Dr. Daniels, thanks. We hope that one day you will also find time to join us. This one says, why is it that at times we do not, why at times do we as a nation pretend to ignore issues and make it worse before stringent measures are taken? We kept mute with no updates during the campaign rallies and aftermath of the results declared in favor of someone before closing public gatherings. Are we doing ourselves good for what? Ablade Efiekuma Zongo in Takrady. Let me take your response while I take time to edit some of the text messages because of the errors that I may be led to read them before I correct them. Now, I asked the question, could it be another strategy to use the appointment committee to get some people rejected?
I cannot speak to the mindset of the president, but I can vouch that there are some appointments with some controversies that the president will do everything possible to make sure it goes through, especially the finance minister. I think on several occasions, he's come out to say that he's one of his best, confidant, one of the best, ministers.
Okay.
And
just hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's time for us to engage some of our viewers.
Okay.
And so while you continue to share your opinion on the finance minister angle with reference to whether some people may be kicked out and the president didn't want to do it and so want to use parliament, there's somebody on the line. Good morning. Unfortunately, we love that person, but when I get the signal, we'll go back to the phones. But continue your conversation, sir.
So for me, I wouldn't begrudge anyone who has been appointed now. However, just as I mentioned, we should subject them to scrutiny based on what they've done. When you pick the Japadale, for instance, I think we all spoke about it. Today, Ghana is, we've realized we are so much enlightened now in the economy as compared to some years back. We have CSOs, very, very good ones, who are ready to commit their money, resources, and even intellect towards the scrutiny of every policy churned out by various governments. And this is not the first time. I always say that, you see, the democracy we are practicing in Ghana, even though it's emerging, we are making progress. I was so happy that when the parliament of the 7th parliament of the 4th Republic had the numbers to have approved a policy, an agreement, like a Japadale, CSOs rose up and spoke against it. Ghanaians also added our voice. Myself and you, we added our voices and ensured that, look, the right thing was done. That's where we are today. So at any given point in time, I will always say that, look, let's judge the people by their intention. And then after that, we also look at the effort of the citizenry. We will leave it to the appointment committee to do this work for us. I wouldn't say that it's probably an intention of the president to nominate some people whom he knows very well that, look, these people you will not go through. But my brother, you know the kind of.
But you see, the reason why I asked that question, and we are trying to still engage those who want to join us by phone.
Okay.
And we have having some technical problems. But if you are trying to call us and you are not getting through, we are sorry. Don't worry. We are trying to fix it even before the program. But if you're not able to do that, I'm sure tomorrow you'll have the opportunity to join us. Just send us your text messages as well. 020-866-7000. 020-866-7000. Or if you watch your screens now, 020-4155-888. 020-4155-888. And then 020-415-5944. Now, if you look at some of the nominees, many people say, look, it is going to be very unforgiving from their side towards the committee if they go through, because there are serious questions that must be answered that appear to have been swept under the carpet, because there used to be a time where they called the president a clearing agent. And so many of those issues, even which were referred to, let's say, Shraj and so on, the perception was that maybe the executive was manipulating the process, and so things that had to be done beyond them were not done. So we have closure of financial institutions, we have the Japa deal, you have the PDS, you have a lot of other things that have come up and they have not been adequately addressed. The minority has held several press conferences, for example, that most of the figures we see as quoted in Parliament are cooked figures, and they have vehemently spoken towards these issues. As we speak, if you look at the front page of the Business and Financial Times, you have economy saddled with 286 billion debt. It hits 74.4% of GDP. And I'm sure all of us were saying fiscal discipline, fiscal discipline, fiscal discipline. And that's where we are now. And the Bank of Ghana wants us to believe that it is because of COVID. And many people are asking, since when and how? I believe that these things may come up. Now, let me go to lawyer briefly. I'll come to you the same question as we begin to wrap up. But lawyer, when these things come up, especially with reference to what I just read, would you say that I am not suggesting that it should be a rubber stamp where the committee will do whatever it wants to do, but would you be surprised that some of the names that are coming up will go through? If they do.
If they do, I will say yes. You see, we need to set an example. There are some of these nominees that if they were to be in the Western countries, by now they wouldn't have even been ministers even in the past government than to even think of getting renomination. Okay? There are some persons. Let me take for instance the issue of our commission. When she fired some shots at her constituency. If she were to be in any Western country, by virtue of that, she would have resigned.
So why would the president nominate him?
Again,
is it to provoke the system?
Well, I will say yes to that, and I can also say no. But what I'm saying,
But he's well aware of the fact that there's an outstanding issue.
So there is somebody to put him to check, and that person is the parliament.
So it could have been.
And the parliament is now having the opportunity which they could not have in the past government. Now they have it now.
Oh, they had it.
Oh, you let's even presume that they never even have.
They have the power to invite anyone.
I know. You know, my brother.
There are select committees.
Let's just play the devil's advocate and believe that they never even get an opportunity.
The devil is so. Let's
play the devil's advocate. Okay.
So use this as a concluding remark. Use this as your concluding remark.
All right.
So that when you finish, I'll come to you.
Perfect. So let's assume that the earlier part, which is the 7th parliament, could not get an opportunity to invite her to come and answer questions to her actions. Now there's an opportunity for her to sit in camera. Everybody in Ghana, except those who don't want to watch, will be watching.
Yeah.
And they should put the right questions. In fact, I'll be very disappointed if the right questions are not being put to these persons. Yeah. The right questions should be put to them, and where the questions are not properly answered, if they are not well answered, I don't see why you should pass a student. In fact, my brother here is a lecturer or a dean. Don't pass a student who has given you, a frivolous answer to a question.
You stay there. I believe that this conversation is heating up in your home, in your office, perhaps in your car driving alone and already angry at perhaps our conversation here, or happy that we are saying it as it is. Just send us a text message 020-866-7000. There are some numbers on your screen as well. You can also look at. Rabna will be joining us shortly to read many of the messages that have come in. But your concluding remark before we wrap up.
Yes, I think with respect to the economy, I personally don't want to join the submission of,
the Bank of Ghana.
Especially the issue of the economy.
Because of COVID.
COVID played a major role. You can't take that one out, because COVID has triggered some reduction in our finances. We know. Virtually, COVID was not a micro thing or a country-specific thing. It was a global thing.
Yeah.
For a number of months, our airports were shut down. The tourism sector was down.
Yeah.
And whatever decision was taken just to protect human life had serious impact on the economy. That's the truth. I also want to believe that
that is the truth.
Yeah.
But somebody may also argue that when government kept borrowing and was borrowing and was borrowing and was borrowing, critics and concerned Ghanaians kept, because we are not seeing what you are using the money for, and they kept saying, oh, we are using fiscal discipline, re-engineering, re-fencing, all kinds of terminologies, and that's where we are. So COVID cannot suddenly be the reason.
I disagree with you, Eric. I disagree with you. I want to believe that, you see, COVID has had a very negative impact on the world economy. No truth about that. Then the issue of, I always have issues when people say that, look, they go for money, we don't know what it's being used for. Then one could say that they don't want to scrutinize the issues. When I read some of these issues, I want to know, what was the loan used for?
Or what was it meant for before it was approved?
And all those documents are available. So let's speak to the document. I'll be very grateful if one day we could probably devote a day
what we
specifically for the economy,
going to do
for the economy, and then
this conversation on the economy, on debt, on where we are heading to in the era of the resurgence of COVID and its spread. This subject will be on the table for Monday.
I will be very grateful.
I am using this platform to invite the two of you, whether you like it or not.
In fact, I'll be very grateful to be here so that we can dissect some of those issues to serious scrutiny. You see, it's very, very important to look at it from the figurative and realistic point of view, and then subject people to some sort of expectation.
I want to, unfortunately, use the small power I have here to say full stop. And let's take the rest to next Monday.
All right.
Alexander Chum Berima will join us for more conversation, and this time it will be law after our commercial break. When we come back as well, we'll be reading many of the text messages that have come in. John Kweku Mensah, is that the name?
Yeah.
Is the Dean of Students at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA. And then Alexander Chumberima, who joined us for the newspaper review segment, is also a legal practitioner, very outspoken, very intelligent, just as the Dean of Students. If you are a Dean of Students, already you are wabbing. So that's what I can say. Thank you for joining us. We are not done yet. We'll be staying on with Alex. Nanabna Sewa will be joining me to read the text messages, but we are taking some commercial break. When we come back, the show will wrap up finally.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yes.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah.
Always drink fresh, natural, mix, mineral, water.
Still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks. Check, auto checks. Check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back. This is the morning update, and that's how we are wrapping up. Join us tomorrow at 6:30 till 9 o'clock. It's time, but we cannot go without at least reading one or two messages. Nanabna has them.
Yes, so Eric, Assemblyman from Half Asini Jumoro Municipality, Honorable Ernest Owusu, is saying that the Ghana Police Service has lost a competent commander who is the person of DSP Zenge, and we, the people of Jumoro, are very much saddened with his demise. Also coming from another person says that the suicide issue is not only in Ghana, this also happened here in Nigeria. I think the problem is all about spiritual couples with unfriendly economic situation, mostly in Africa.
So Nanabna, that's how we have to wrap it because our producers are whipping us. 9 o'clock this program ends. I'll be back again after a few promos and few commercials, then some good spots of music. We'll talk about the Supreme Court briefly before we cross over to the proceedings. My name is Erika Hianyo.
And I am Nana Abunasewa. It's been a pleasure.